Hey guys, it's Bobby Kelly with Living in Cincinnati, and I'm really excited to have Teresa Strapp here with Union Home Mortgage, who's going to answer a lot of the burning questions that we have about the pre-approval process. And I'm really excited to ask her all of these and get all your guys' questions answered. We're just going to get right into it. Are you ready?
I am. Thanks for having me, Bobby.
Awesome. All right, so the first one that we're going to talk about is what is the importance of getting pre-approved before you start looking for a home?
Oh, it's super important. Here's the reason. The reality is you're going to start looking at homes. What if you don't qualify for that home? So let's say you're looking at a certain price range, you fall in love with the home, then you go through the mortgage process and find out, oops, that payment's a little higher than I wanted, or it's not really where I want it to be. So it's really important to start fresh, get with your mortgage loan officer to get your pre-approval, go over the numbers so that when you're looking at a home, you know what your payment is going to be and what you're comfortable with.
Exactly. That's always a good idea to figure out what purchase price equals what payment price, so you know exactly how you can budget monthly for each for your housing expenditures.
That's right.
Awesome. So when people are getting submitted their applications to get pre-approved for a home, I know some lenders do what they call a pre-qualification, and then others do a pre-approval. And can you tell us about the difference between those two?
Absolutely. They sound really similar. Pre-qualification is basically the first step. So that's when we're going to look at your credit, and you're going to give me all of your income and asset information, your debts. But that's called a pre-approval, or excuse me, a pre-qualification. The step to get you to a pre-approval is when we actually collect the documents and verify everything that you've sent. So we're going to look at your pay stubs, we're going to look at your bank statements and say, yes, everything is accurate. Now you are fully pre-approved. So that's the difference.
Awesome. Yeah. I love getting to be able to submit a pre-approval to sellers agents because they know that they've been through all the extra steps that it takes to make sure that they can close on their loan.
That's right.
We always want to aim for the pre-approval as opposed to the pre-qualifications. And correct me if I'm wrong, there's a lot of companies, big companies out there, I won't mention names, that you can go online to and just, put in some basic information and they tell you you can buy a $500,000 house. Would that be considered a pre-qualification?
Barely. That's right. And you want to know. You don't want to be, like I said, you don't want to be falling in love with the home or spending your time looking at homes that you really don't qualify for, or that it's not in your budget,
Right. Awesome. Cool. Well, the next question that we have is, what documents and information are you going to require for people to send in to obtain their pre-approval?
That's an awesome question. So it's really gotten a lot more simple, to be honest. So
Okay.
We really need to, you need an ID. We need to see a photo ID state. We need to see your income documentation. So if you're a W-2 employee, we're going to look for a W-2. We're going to look for your pay stubs. If you're a self-employed or a 1099, then we're going to need your tax returns. And then your bank statements. And that's really it. That's really all that we're looking for.
That's pretty easy because you can get a lot of that stuff online too.
Yes.
You really don't even have to go and, around town or to your bank or to your employer. You can just pull that up online and send it straight to you.
Absolutely. And sometimes we can pull it for you. Sometimes we can pull your income, and sometimes we can pull your bank statements. It's super easy.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes it so much more simple, and it really minimizes what would seem like a daunting task of getting pre-approved for a whole home. But that's awesome. So the next question is, once we're starting this pre-approval process, how long do you think it'll take before I, submit my application all the way to getting my pre-approval letter?
To be honest, it can take minutes. Right, so it's pretty simple to pull a credit report, to review bank statements. So honestly, an hour would be plenty of time.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember my parents talking about how back in the day it used to take weeks sometimes to get a pre-approval ready.
Right. Right, because you had to drive, you had to take all the documents in, you had to go to your bank to get your bank statements. You had to, so much easier now.
God bless technology.
Yes, I agree.
Awesome. So, when you're looking over people's documents, what factors do you consider when you're, getting that maximum loan amount that they're allowed to borrow?
So, we really want to have that conversation. And so it's called a debt to income ratio. So we look at your income, and then we look at your debts, and then look at how much you're spending on your housing. So we really want to look at what makes the most sense for you. So different loans can push that debt to income higher, but it's really with what are you comfortable with? what's your budget? So that's super important to me that yes, you qualify, but also what's your budget? What numbers are you looking for?
Right. That's great to consider that. A lot of lenders I know of will give buyers their pre-approval when their maximum amount may be $500,000, but that payment is much higher than what a buyer originally wanted to spend on a home. So knowing that payment is a great thing to keep in mind. All right. We're moving right along. Are there any potential pitfalls or issues that that buyers should be aware of while they're going through the pre-approval process?
Sure. The important thing is communication, to be honest. So if you all of a sudden have a large deposit, so let's say you got a big bonus, or you have an inheritance, or maybe you won the lottery, right? So you've got a big deposit down there. And so we want to communicate with, where did that come from? We have to track things. Also, changing your job. So that could change your income, could change your qualification. So you want to just, again, communicate with your loan officer to say, hey, this is a much better opportunity for me. I'd really like to change jobs. Is that okay? So having that conversation up front makes all the difference. And then you want to just make sure you're not opening new credit. You don't want to go out and buy a fancy new car with a big car payment just before you get your mortgage. So again, communication with your loan officer is key.
Awesome. Yes, that's good, because a lot of times people can think that changing jobs or getting something on credit could be the end of their pre-approval journey.
Yeah, not necessarily.
That's not always the case. So it's important just to be making sure you tell your loan officer everything that's going on, because they will find out.
We will.
They will find out. And keeping your consistent income and your consistent debts are pretty important when you're buying a house. Once you're finished purchasing the home and you close, do whatever you feel like doing. Awesome.
But keep paying your mortgage.
Keep paying your mortgage, because they will not let you stay.
It's true.
So if I'm a buyer and I'm thinking about getting pre-approved, what are some things that I can do to improve my chances of getting a favorable pre-approval?
That's a great question. Honestly, I think it's very important to have an early conversation with your mortgage professional. There's things that we could help you with. Let's put you in a better light. So even people who have good credit, maybe we can help you to get excellent credit. So I think it's never too soon to start that process. Even if you're thinking to buy in the next 6 months or a year, getting that credit in line is super important.
Yes, definitely. I agree 100%. So even if you're thinking about purchasing a home and you're not, certain as to when, you're not really sure of your credit situation, having that conversation with a loan officer to start could help you establish a timeline to say, okay, in 6 months, I'm going to be ready to purchase a home, or in a year, I'm going to be ready to purchase a home. It's never too soon to start planning. So I've always encouraged my buyers to talk to loan officers before, just to get some preliminary information going. Awesome. So there are different types of mortgages, as most people would know, but can you talk about them just briefly, about each one, and some key highlights of each one, so that everyone knows kind of the different mortgages that are out there?
Sure. And what we like to do is really take that time to tailor the mortgage to the person, what makes the most sense for them. So you could do a conventional loan. That's kind of your just standard loan, right? As a
very
conventional loan. Right, very conventional.
Yes.
That's why it's called that. Conforming. So, but then you can also look at an FHA loan. So an FHA loan is very flexible. You could have a lower down payment. You could have a higher debt to income ratio. You could have a lower credit score, or you might have a great credit score. So that's a very flexible loan product as well. We love to work with veterans. So VA loans, if you're a veteran, you could put as little as no money down and get into a house. So we have a great VA programs to help our veterans. USDA is another great loan product that we love, and that is a rural development. So if you're in, trust me, rural is not necessarily like in the country. I mean, some areas are just rural. So we have a great map for that. So a USDA loan is, again, a loan for no money down. But you can put money down if you have it, right? The more money you put down, the lower your payment is.
Right.
So we look at all those kinds of options to help you get into the best loan for you, what makes the most sense for you.
Awesome. So for all the naysayers out there, you don't need 20% down to purchase a home.
That's right. Even conventionally, you could put as little as 3% down. So
yeah, there's no reason to wait and save up 20%. It's tens of thousands of dollars to wait to become a homeowner. Getting into the market earlier is always a better choice financially because the market naturally appreciates. So waiting for that 20% could cost you more than, your monthly mortgage payment may increase.
That's exactly right.
Cool. All right. So, okay. So the next question that we have is, what are some common misconceptions about the pre-approval process and some things that maybe people don't know about it?
Yeah, so you don't have to have perfect credit, right? So you can have, a 600 credit score, but we can also work with you to approve that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't, like you already mentioned, you don't have to have 20% down. That there are plenty of great loan programs out there that's not necessary. In fact, none of our loan programs require 20% down. Actually, that's not true. Don't say that. Cut that out. As an investment property, you do not need 20% down.
Okay.
But very few, require 20% down. So, looking at all those options, it's important to just take a look at it again, communicate with your mortgage professional to say, what's the best plan for me?
Right. Awesome. Cool. Well, the last question that I have is, can you share like a personal success story that you had with a buyer, getting pre-approved through you and just finding the home of their dreams?
Yeah. So every experience is going to be different, but we want everything to be smooth and clean and happy, right? I mean, who doesn't, I hear so many people who come to me and say, wow, this was an easy process. I thought that it was really hard to get a mortgage and go through this home process. But the reality is, it just depends, right? So the reason we do the pre-approval, collect all those documents up front, is so that when you do find that perfect house, with your realtor, that you are going to be happy and easygoing. You just jump right in. So we do have lots of clients who either they've heard from their friends or they had a past experience with a previous, a different lender that said, that was a horrible experience. I don't understand what happened. Why is this so smooth? And the reality is, it's because we do the work up front, right? We make sure that you're prepared so that you know front and back what to expect and be ready.
Mm-hmm. That's why who you work with does matter. There are thousands of lending professionals and thousands of realtors out there that all of them have different qualities of customer service. So I think it's important to make sure that you're selective about the people that you decide to work with. This is the largest purchase you will probably ever make in your entire life. Right. So finding the right people to be on your team and in your corner is super important. So ask around, interview them, look at their reviews, talk to multiple professionals and pick the one that speaks to you the most and that you think is going to help you get to that end goal of home ownership and is going to look out for your best interests. Awesome.
I couldn't agree more.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to answer some of these questions that we had. And, obviously, people know where to find you. We're both out of the Cincinnati metro area, so we're selling homes to people here in Cincinnati and the outside neighborhoods. So if you're ever looking for a mortgage professional or a realtor here in Cincinnati, feel free to look us up. I've put all of our contact information in the comments. And thanks. Awesome.
Thank you so much. We'd love to hear from you.